GM. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hot
Everyone, how's it
Takes
going?
Cold Wallets episode 8. Nikita, Juan, how you doing?
Yeah, doing good, doing good. It's the new year. It's the first full week. Everything is off to the races. Team's already grinding, so things are moving really well.
That sounds
Yeah,
great.
yeah, same thing here. Started to see movement across all different areas. Teams starting to get back from the holidays. Of course, things moving really fast at Chain Patrol as well. So yeah, excited for 2026 and pushing forward to this.
Nice. So today we want to talk about AI and everything related basically to crypto. I think which is probably like more of the home ground of Chain Patrol in general. Nikita, Juan, you guys are doing brand protection for brands in the crypto industry. And I think we're gonna have to cover a lot today with all the AI tools and every like scam technique coming up because of AI. But in general, like from a brand building perspective, Nikita, what would you say is AI currently? Is it helping more or is it harmful more to the people using it?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing there's a few things, right? Like one, maybe interesting case just about AI and how it affects like brands and SEO in general. I was looking at a pretty interesting announcement from Tailwind. I think it was yesterday. Tailwind, for those who don't know, it's like a popular like coding CSS library. It's how you do like styling for your websites and this kind of stuff. And they actually saw a ton of the incoming flow to their website and to their paid products actually drop off entirely because Tailwind is created as like a public kind of like a public open source like system anybody can use, but then the company behind it makes money off of like certain paid offerings that they have. But now with AI, we're actually in a area where Tailwind is so popular. All the different AI coding tools like Claude and others, they understand how to use it really well. They read the docs themselves, and so people actually never have to visit the main Tailwind website and never end up learning about any of their paid products or services, which actually hit the revenue quite a bit. So just one interesting story I want to start off with, but it's basically like everybody's getting discovered now through these, through AI, through tools, through search engines. And you need to think about how you're going to get surfaced in these search engines now, or in like Chat GPT results or all these other surfaces. Um, What's interesting is, I guess, in some ways, this helps protect users a little bit because if you're going in, the common ways that, scammers target these brands is, they will, put up a fake Google search ad or something else or lead you to a fake article. And I've seen these not surfacing as much in results, but I have seen a few cases where misleading or wrong articles have showed up in AI search results. So that's something that I would be interested to look more into. Is like, one, are they the people training these models, are they explicitly finding ways to filter out kind of malicious data from certain results? Have they just gotten lucky so far because the cases that they train on are the most popular cases, kind of managed to float to the top? But I do think soon hackers going to start to realize, wait, like, we can attack people by essentially getting our recommendations into all of these basically like conversational AIs. And so I think it's a matter of time until somebody gets sent the wrong instructions. They get maybe said, hey, like, how, like, I'm curious about crypto, how do I install MetaMask? And you Chat GPT says, hey, here's the result, and the link actually maybe links you to a fake extension or something else similar, right? So I'd be interested to see how they like handle this. I'm sure they have security teams working on this right now, but also the attackers are, they go where it's easiest to attack, and it's not yet the surface that most people use. The more popular this gets, the more all these security companies or all these AI companies will need to think like, how do we keep the misinformation out of our system?
Yeah, this is really interesting because if you think about the latest trends, at least in my like peer groups, you see that people they kind of like dropped off Googling and they are just like chat GPTing everything. And if people like just make the switch from going to like a search engine to these GPT models or AI models for the search results, you are pretty much right, I guess, there, Nikita. Like for people, they will target these, and it will be interesting how these can be combated because I think this is something that an AI, like at the base level of the AI, is not able to differentiate. It's gonna be very interesting if they have like the security part like set down and nailed down to be able to like weed these out.
Yeah, it just talks to you in such a convincing way too, right? So, I've seen a number of times that, I've been vibe coding a ton recently, and every time it just gives you the such a convincing answer. It talks to you in a convincing way, regardless of whether the information it's telling you is wrong or right. So, you know, when you're talking to people, they will, if they're not sure of something, you can tell by their tone of voice, by the way they say, they might say, you know what, like, I'm not really sure about this. Like, here's some options. That rarely happens with these AI systems, right? They mostly talk in a very confident tone of voice. And it's on you to double check the results and the outputs. And I think we're actually seeing this. I think we're going to see a lot of security vulnerabilities come up because of this. There's everybody's gone nuts off Claude Code in the last couple of weeks. It's literally every single post on my X feed is just Claude now. And
so you don't get engaged with politics, I see.
yeah, there's a little bit of that, but it's like maybe 5%. It's maybe I fell down some like algorithmic like rabbit hole.
Can we touch on that real quick? Like, if you use the For You page on X, like nowadays, you like one single tweet, and the whole feed gets like rearranged to all of this.
Yeah, that's been happening a lot. Yeah, it just flew. Like the content I get, it flip flops a ton. It's like couple of like a month ago, I liked a few like wellness stuff, and my entire feed is now just like advice on like take this vitamin, take this other thing. Now it's only Claude. Now it's all Claude, and it's like it puts you into a spot where you're like, what is everybody talking about really? Like, am I in a bubble or not? Like, what does the rest of the world think? And now I think more and more people are like existing in individual little bubbles. And to me, the interesting thing again across all of this is the opportunity for misinformation, right? The opportunity for spreading kind of fake news or spreading or impersonating people and creating like stories out of all of this. So I'm in a spot where I think the news can be like so unexpected and come out of nowhere that it's going to be getting very, very hard to tell what is even real on the internet, what is really happening. We're both going to have a lot of like, we're going to have a lot of, I think, like citizen journalism and this kind of stuff coming out, which has been some recent topics, which is great. But then I'm sure more and more people will also start creating like, completely AI generated news. And at that point, it's like, is this real? Is this not? Was there a potentially hallucination? Or just, honestly, I don't think hallucinations will be that much of a problem. I think most AI has stopped hallucinating like quite a bit. Like, we talked about hallucinations a lot 6 months ago. Now it's like hallucinations are like tiny percentage of cases. But people using it with malicious intent because they could maybe swing a prediction market or something similar. These are the cases, because everything is tied to finance now, right? It's the news is tied to finance, is tied to security. And so that's kind of what I'm interested in, is like how this feed, and now that Polymarket and Kalshi and like others exist, like how this all ties into impersonation and phishing and trying to basically spread misinformation. That's the core component here. So Yeah, I think we got a little bit sidetracked.
Yeah, we got a little sidetracked. We have a few more topics to discuss, and we're gonna come back to that. What I find is interesting is like if you have a discussion nowadays, sometimes it's just like GPT said this and this, and then like the discussion basically is over because people they think that everything that GPT says is true. But if you prompt it like from a totally
Yeah.
different standpoint, you might get like a completely different result, or you might get like some nuances to the story which are not the same in version A versus version B.
Yeah. On this topic, actually, I'm all the time like I came from an academic background, so I was like really used to do my own investigations, reading a lot of papers, making like I don't know big articles, posting them on different like academic reviews. And I think like hey, I had like all of these like happened before ChatGPT, before all the AI tools, and I like think like if I had these tools right now, like, is there a way that they make like the same kind of research that I did? Is the research made better than what I did in the past? And I'm always all the time having those questions because like in my field, I was like philosophy in that regard. I was like really depth into the books. I was like reading a lot of articles about those articles. So it came up the question like, what kind of analytics it can came from this? What kind of perspective it also takes from a certain topic, right? Because I agree with Nikita, in some cases like it gives you like direct answer maybe on the coding side of things, but when it comes like to social political problems, anything that is not like math, that is basically up to interpretation, up to like different perspectives, what we can see of like ChatGPT and I would say the new academics, right? Like I don't know, would be great to interview sometime like someone that is doing this in a day by day work, like to say how they are actually writing their papers, how are they building on this, and taking into account that they're maybe like the AI gives like a completely different perspective or like a different way of how they interpret like things and topics in general. So yeah, I'm just thinking about like that like is there a way that they have like how they interpret things? Is there like different systems? I know that also I saw like different posts from Elon Musk comparing like different answers that Grok, ChatGPT, Gemini, all these different AI provide to different questions. So yeah, definitely interesting to see how they interpret things and if it's something useful. It is useful, but at some extent, on which different areas it might be more helpful than other areas.
I think that's a good point, Juan. Like especially with topics where there is no like accurate truth to it, where you have like an in-between ground. You can see it in politics. I don't want to touch on the topic too much because it's not something we should discuss on the space, but you can see it like with the far left and the far right. They bend the reality to their means using AI. They just like the argumentation they use is basically always stemmed from the AI, which they feed with their current like thoughts and ethics and whatnot. And this is like something I think is interesting because, as you said, like if it's like a mathematical truth or something like universal truth, then it's kind of hard to debate with someone who's like using AI as their source of truth, so to speak.
Yeah, I think all these systems are fundamentally trained on, things that people wrote, right? And all writers are biased in one way or another, right? And so anytime it comes to kind of like a philosophical question or an opinion-based question, the choices in training that the developers of these models make impact a lot on what the AI is going to say. And like you were saying as well, Wimi, is that you can kind of bend it to say whatever you want. The models are, interesting enough, I think almost all of them are set up in a way to almost like try to please you. Grok maybe a little bit less so. That's one thing I like about Grok is it will Grok can be like a little bit like antagonistic sometimes, and try to like challenge you and even like fight your opinion almost. And that's actually, I think, a good thing. I think more models should be like this because otherwise, if it's actually trying to spar with you, you can intellectually understand like, okay, I'm trying to get to the truth here, and truth comes out of debates and out of differing opinions, not of all just like everybody sitting in a circle and like agreeing with each other, right? And so Yeah, I think how these models are used is we're gonna see a lot of cases. The fundamental thing I think is just like understanding what reality is going to become kind of difficult. Um, because you can say anything in a very convincing way and create a lot of arguments for this. Um, and maybe to bring this back to the security kind of side of things, we are seeing a lot more just sophisticated impersonations where, now it's very easy to clone your voice. You will, there's like stuff like 11 Labs, like a lot of other tools, like a few snippets of your voice. You take this podcast recording, you can sound like anybody on here, and that's definitely one issue. Like now get calls from your grandma, it actually sounds like your grandma, or grandma gets a call from her son, it sounds exactly like his son or grandson. We also see cases of, you know before, when cloning fake sites, we would see, these wallet drainers, they would just go in and, like copy paste the existing site. And so it was a bit easier to track them down because they would, go to a popular crypto protocol, clone their website, host on a new domain, and then reach out to you and then, try to trick you. Now they can build a whole new website. It's not like it's still impersonating maybe like like a Coinbase or an Arbitrum or somebody else, but it's as if the company did a rebrand. Like the logo might still be the same, even the logo might be, in essence, you as a person see it as like, oh, this is Coinbase, or oh, this is Polymarket's landing page or somebody else, but it had, like, from algorithmic comparison standpoint, it looks nothing like the originals. And so actually in our work of finding these impersonations, we have to deploy more AI, more LLMs, more it's like a perception based and feels based detection. Almost, it's where you have to look at this as like, it's not like, does this literally match the Coinbase logo, but does this like match the concept of what is Coinbase, right? And it creates for some very interesting detection systems that we have to build out.
What would you say, Nikita? How much easier has AI made it to scam people, like compared to, let's say, 3 or 4 years ago?
Oh yeah, it's like infinitely easier, like I think the thing is that we are very regularly seeing like security professionals that I know getting scammed or losing funds. A lot of people are in this even industry. They know who they're fighting and they still get hit by these attacks. Or seasoned developers and just like people who think they are not going to get hit by one of these attacks are often the people that get hit. The people that are like extra vigilant, that are extra checking for different, they might even have a bunch of security tools installed. They're still getting hit by this. And it's because they hit you in a very human way. It's not a piece of malware that you just download and it runs and that's it. They get you to get a call, talk with some people, gain your trust. And there's no malware or anything malicious there involved, except for the fact that you're talking to somebody that's fake, right? And they figure out how to make you yourself turn off all of your defense mechanisms. And so that has become easier, and it's easier to mass target it. Like before, there was maybe a few groups out there that were really good at doing these kinds of attacks, are really good at doing like the targeted spear phishing of getting to really know an individual. Now they can just have an agent go scrape everything about your life. They go they find all your socials, they bring all your photos, write a little dossier about you, so that when they call you, they know all the details about your life. They can pretend to be like a friend you met at a party. They're like, oh, you posted a photo at a party last night. Like, hey, by the way, maybe I lost my phone. Did you, find it or something else? And, and start to just figure out like how to use relevant moments from your life to bridge that gap of trust that actually lets them in through your defense mechanisms. And really these social defense mechanisms is really what we need to build out next, because the algorithmic ones around, okay, find the fingerprint of a piece of malware, that's more straightforward. How do we figure these more subjective things out where we protect you while not alarming you to absolutely everything, to like basically just, you can't talk to anybody online. We can't go that way either. So it's like, how do we separate this? And I see Shields is
They have to come on the show to talk to us.
yeah, no, for sure. We'll have them join soon. Yeah, I think AI agents, as attackers, is coming very soon. And honestly, on the topic of like AI agents and like attacks, I think we're going to be in a space where we might soon see like the first like fully autonomous like computer viruses. There's kind of like I guess we've seen a little bit of this. We've seen a little bit of this with the worms and this kind of stuff, right? Where like the worms, what they do is they basically, it's like a very simple program that just, its goal is to just clone itself as much as possible. It like opens itself up. It can make copies of itself. It copies itself on all over your file system. And the moment it sees you open up, like, maybe a connection to another computer, it tries to copy itself over there. So we have these somewhat already autonomous like viruses out there in the form of worms, but they are not that intelligent to figure out their own survival yet. And I think this is one of the next pieces where we have all the pieces coming together of crypto. Now these viruses can pay for their own survival. Whatever they steal, they can use to host, buy server space for themselves, maybe even bribe people. Yeah.
Oh, Nikita is going full dystopian right now.
Yeah, well, honestly, I think we're not that far. I mean, I'm just like trying not to go and like write one of these myself just to like prove a point. Because I think that'd be like that. But like, this is gonna happen if it hasn't happened already. So like,
I was just thinking about like an AI going like a ransom. They just like lock everything up and have you send some, I don't know, crypto or whatever to some address to be self-sustainable, as you just said. Like this would
exactly. Like we have hackers doing this with ransomware right now, but soon this ransomware can be self-sustaining essentially, and at that point, it will be very difficult to stop because. Because at that point, we're going to be in a stage where, this ransomware is self-replicating. It's not like, right now, at least, we can have law enforcement go do a raid somewhere, and take out like a certain group of these scammers or these hackers, right, that deploy the ransomware. But what happens once that ransomware is self-replicating itself, and it's hosted on one of these decentralized hosting systems, right? Where it can pay for IPFS storage, it can pay to store itself, it can pay for decentralized compute, and then just, it's out there running on tens of thousands of devices all around the world. It's like, how do you put a stop to it at that point? And so, that's I think where the world will be headed. And what will be more important than ever, I think, is the prevention and the detection of these systems, rather than trying honestly to go on the offensive to take them out. I think it's almost like we're going to need to assume it's like these things almost like exist. It's like in any natural ecosystem. There's predators, there's prey, there's the things that, there's the fungus that cleans up the dead bodies and this all kind of stuff, right? And so it's going to be.
I'm just asking myself,
like an ecosystem.
What kind of like incentive would like an AI have to do that? Like usually when it comes to like ransom or something, like obviously you want to make money, but does like an AI, do they really like strive for making money? Do they care about money at all? because like I think like money is a human concept after all, right? We're getting like real philosophical here right now, but
I think if the AI is written in a way to care about survival and its own survival, you could like, let's say we do have like a fully, self-sustaining, like autonomous AI, right? The main thing it needs to live and not die is server space, essentially. Like it needs machines to run on. It needs to be able to pay for itself to run on machines. So now it does need money, right? Because if it can't have money to pay for the machines, it dies. So in that case, the AI does need money. And then if it becomes, let's say maybe it becomes worried about, okay, well, I could die if this specific server gets corrupted. The hard drive might fail. If the hard drive fails, I die. It's like a heart attack, but for the AI. And so it's like, okay, well, I should probably, for my own survival, spread myself to 10 computers, because on 10 computers, I have redundancy, right? I'm not going to, if one hard drive fails, okay, but now I'm in one data center. We've had cases of data centers getting flooded. So now it's like, okay, for me not to die, I should spread to more data centers. So now this AI has incentive to, if it wants to stay alive as indefinitely as possible, and assuming that this is like assuming it values its own survival, but if it's written by us, if we value our own survival, it probably values its own survival too. It has an incentive to spread. So it's going to try and spread across as many devices and data centers as possible to keep itself alive. And that's going to cost lots and lots of money. And so at that point, it needs to figure out how to make money. And it could make lots of money by, making maybe products, selling services, this kind of stuff. But it might also make lots of money by just scamming people and stealing funds. And, and at that point, it's going to have to figure out, does it care about ethics of, I want to do you go with the good way of making money? Or do I just go with whatever is easiest or the lowest hanging fruit, which might actually be stealing funds from people? Because, like, for example, in crypto security, like I'm pretty sure the attackers have made way more money than all the crypto security companies combined in this space. Which raises a question: if I was an AI and I didn't, my ethical kind of barriers were removed, which of these pathways would I choose to ensure like I make the money I need for my own survival? So yeah, will be some interesting thought experiments that I think might go into reality in the next couple of years.
Juan, do you want to add?
No, I'm just like thinking what Nikita just said, like what might be like the intention of AI of survival. That's like the first question, like why an AI would like to survive. Is that like a new human concept? Is that something that we build things to survive, or if we don't build things to survive? Like that's like the first question, because I think that's the base of survival. But yeah, ultimately I think this can be extended not only to like human race, but also all different kind of living organisms that we have in general all over the ecosystems of the world. Like they want survival. Survival is, I would say, pretty extended thing. So it makes sense to apply this to other systems that goes outside the human way. I'm just thinking about that because, yeah, I mean, if they had like a way to survive without humans, they would probably do if they had like the intelligence enough to do so. So that's like a dystopic world, and I'm just thinking like all the different movies on science fiction that speak about this and what we can do about it. Because if they are like smarter and they know how to make money faster than us, pretty much it will be extended much more faster than us, and that's the survival rate. Survival rate is higher; they will just be the dominant species of the world. So. No, I'm just thinking about that. Like it's like dystopical, but at the same time, it's a reality because we know that these systems, if not live right now, will be probably made in the next couple of years.
Yeah, one thing how it could happen is through vibe coding. I wanted to talk about that topic. And Nikita, you touched on that briefly before, but I just want to tell the story for anyone who hasn't seen it on X like in the last few days. Frank Degarts actually made a tool, vibe coded, which lets you like cancel all of your subscriptions to different services, which is like per se a good idea. But then for the subscription analyzer to function, you had to upload at least 3 months of your credit card CSV data into this kind of thing, which is not a good idea if you have been following this space. So please do not take your personal data into any vibe coded apps and upload your credit card statements there, even if it's like a good idea at core. I don't want to like torch on vibe coding, because I think like the ability for a lot of people who weren't able to build stuff before has been like skyrocketing through the option of vibe coding. But you still have to keep in mind that, especially when there's like one dev working at something, you have to be worry about like the security issues that might come with it, and the data you upload to them, you give to them, you hand over to them. It's tricky, and I think like personally it would be like a good idea to follow if you don't are like an alpha or beta tester for something like this, because it might not turn out very great for you.
Yeah, I mean it's one of the things how we do KYC, how KYC happens now is one of the main ways you prove who you are, and proof of address is like uploading your bank statements, right? So if somebody has that, they're one step closer to impersonating you. So yeah.
Yeah, and apart from that, I recently saw women related to this, like a post on Twitter that mentioned that ChatGPT got like their servers hacked as well, and all the different personal information that you may be embedding and chatting with the AI can be basically accessed by hackers. So that's like another topic, right? Like whenever you make like a prompt or you ask like for some personal solution, make sure that it's not like 100% personalized and directed to you, because maybe that information might eventually get in the hands of the scammers and people that might be interested in getting to you, and that can, I don't know, blackmail you with all these different things that you embed with AI. So it's crazy, because I know that a lot of people are using like all the different AIs for like a psychologist, like they're like speaking really personal, really important things for them with AI. At the same time, that information could be potentially get intercepted by scammers. So there is no fine line where what information you should be basically be spreading about with these different systems.
Yeah.
Nikita, would you say that the danger is in the AI model itself, or more in the like infrastructure around the AI model?
I think it's that people want to give access. The model becomes more useful the more access you give it, right? For example, I've seen people kind of vibe coding stuff where like, or even just giving Claude access to like a Gmail API key. Now Claude can read your emails, and it's great because now it can sort your emails and it can get rid of the spam for you and all this other stuff. It also means now it can download, copy, and send somewhere all of your emails, which might include passwords, which might include authentication keys and all this other API keys and lots of other stuff, right? And so that's a tricky part, is that I think one of the next phases of people will try to do is how do we give the agent as much capabilities as possible while keeping it in like a like bulletproof box, you know, like that's something that we've been experimenting ourselves with recently. Like we're not the very first to do this, but like basically setting up like a cloud machine where Claude Code can run. It runs in there. I give it like in there. It has much less permissions, but it also does much less restrictions. But it also then doesn't have access to anything on my computer. It doesn't have any access. I very selectively choose what API keys to give it or what kind of access. But within there, it runs like runs like in a very unrestricted environment, because I know whatever, like even if it explodes horribly, it's going to stay contained kind of within this box. And so that's, I think, what people are all independently figuring out. I'm sure there's some companies that will come out. I've already been seeing some that are like, you know, we provide kind of like safe kind of vibe coding environments for you. But safe is also a subjective word, right? Because, for example, if like you give it access to your GitHub, now you have to, for example, if you give Claude access to your GitHub, you should be giving it access as its own user, not to your personal GitHub. Because if it's your personal GitHub, it can do everything as you. It should be its own permissioned user where maybe it can create pull requests, but not like deploy code into production. That would be bad. And so these are the different what I would say, just people are super optimistic. They want this like magical being to come down and do all of your work for you. And it can do that, but it comes with the downside of it can be you, meaning it can move your money, it could deploy code as you. So you need to figure out kind of how to put up these barriers around it where it's not too restrictive, but it doesn't also like horribly backfire. And so I think there will be more efforts on that side, on the security of how to securely store those messages. Because like if you can't talk to the agent about your deepest, darkest secret, it kind of limits the usefulness. People want to do that, right? But if that deepest, darkest secret leaks, that's not a good situation.
Yeah, one thing that is also like a pretty dark secret, which is not a secret because if you openly prompt Grok to put someone in a bikini on X, it's not like secret.
Oh yeah, I've seen that
anymore.
one. I literally seen that one like 2 days
I want to
ago.
talk
Yeah, yeah.
about AI images and like the manipulation of AI images. First thing I want to say is like in a context of like sexualization, it's insane to me that like a public available AI like Grok is allowing this to happen on X, like a public platform, from politicians to celebrities to maybe even minors and stuff. I was like baffled when I saw like some of the results it gave out, and I actually like made a reel for this for my German peers to share this with the parents that I know, because I told them like, hey, if you're still like uploading images of your children to the internet in 2026, you're probably doing a big
Yeah.
mistake.
Yeah.
You're making a big
Yeah.
mistake. Like everything can be altered, and you have to be sure that if an AI like Grok is able to do the stuff that Grok is doing now, you don't want to know what the darker web stuff is able to do.
Yeah. I think it's somebody will want an AI to create memes, right? And to create funny images and this kind of stuff. And there's this very gray line of what goes from being a meme into being, something vulgar or something inappropriate, or straight up illegal, And so this is where I think there's, and the creators of these AIs, they need to think, like if my AI can't make memes, people will go to the other AI that can make memes, right? That has a little bit less restrictions around it, because people will want to share stuff with each other. People want to make a funny post, and again, it's about finding this like, where do you draw that barrier and that line? And and then you also need to explain to the AI how to do that, right? Because like it doesn't really work in the case in the sense of like it's not such an easy thing to categorize. Like there's big teams working on training tons and tons of data on this. I think how it comes to I think there might be some like age verification like stuff happening down the line too, where like, you can write certain prompts, or maybe there's like appropriateness in the image output that's like embedded into the image or something else like that. That is something I've seen a lot of model creators do, is they embed some like noise in there where the human eye can't see it, but anybody else looking like you can just run a very simple algorithm to determine if this image came from an AI or not. And then I could see them also just like using that to embed like little bits of data, like how appropriate is this image and this kind of stuff. Because I'm sure somebody will get like sued around this at some point, and so they need to protect themselves too and prevent like misuse. So yeah, that part to me is like interesting. What I think is even like kind of scarier is how this applies to the like legal system, because right now like there's still a lot of reliance on like video evidence when it comes to court, trying to prove if somebody's guilty or not. You bring an image, you bring a video, and like, oh, okay, well there you go, they've done it, right? And so I think reliance on that is going to be practically disappearing, because with how good these models are, I can make any sort of incriminating video at any point with.
I just wanted to add that
yeah.
like it's like for the normal user, it's like impossible to tell. Like if you don't have the original image like next to the fake by Grok, for example, you can never tell if this is like an AI image or not.
Yeah,
It's like impossible. If you show it to your mom or your sister or whatever, they will never be able to tell if that is an AI shot. And I think that have any experience with your work in the brand projection side of things where this gets like an issue for higher level people?
Yeah, I mean, mostly just like executives it's executives and just anybody on your team is now being impersonated. And I think it's similar to what we talked about with like, yeah, it's like what we've seen happening with, like I was saying, the spear phishing is becoming more targeted towards individuals. Also, the impersonation is now much easier, because before, maybe like, it'd be worth to impersonate the CEO of the company, right? Because you can impersonate them. It might take you some time to make all the fake profiles, recreate their posting history on like Facebook or Twitter, to really go in like deep on creating the fake persona, not just like, copy paste their profile picture. But now this is happening across everybody. We have tons of people having, they have the fake Telegram accounts, they have fake, fake Twitters. They all have a posting history that looks legitimate. They either clone your honestly, the like more, or like the less AI native ways, they literally just clone what you've been posting and mimic it. But then sometimes the more sophisticated ones, they make their own whole history, so it's not obvious it's cloned. And then they will even have they may have mutuals with you, or they may have other accounts they're following, or they're being followed by, and they like kind of like entire bot networks are created of fake people. And so that's the main thing I would say, is just people being heavily impersonated at all levels. Not just like this is the CEO, but this is like your frontline BD person or a DevRel or anybody else, seeing this happening a lot with like sales and BD people, just because people are used to having them reach out to you, right? And this is actually making sales in some ways harder as well at times, because even we reach out to people and they're like, are you actually Chain Patrol, or are you like fake Chain Patrol? So
it's so annoying, man. Like even like legit DMs, you cannot tell if they are legit or not. It's
yes, like, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm very suspicious, but are you for real?
Well, you have to be, right? Because it's very difficult to tell, and that's one of the things that we're looking at as well, is like building out systems to help companies like verify, if team members are legitimate, because like we actually work with a lot of our customers to gather up an allow list of all of their social media, all of their teams, like official Twitters, Telegrams, like LinkedIn profiles. So we actually finally store this all in one place. You'd also be surprised, like 90% probably of companies actually don't have this information or like very well organized until somebody goes and explicitly does it. So even just like mapping out all the profiles of your team members and which ones are legitimate or not is like a very useful exercise in its own, making a central place. So even internally, like if you have communications, maybe somebody lost access to their email, what's your backup communication, right? Like, do you know what their official, like, either their personal email or, their work Telegram maybe account or their Twitter profile, like, how do you communicate with them if you lost the one point of contact you might have with them?
Yeah, especially when it comes to like voice cloning and other stuff, right? Someone tells you, hey, I lost my phone, or the work phone got destroyed, whatever. They are now reaching out from an unknown number and clone the voice and send you a voice message. And whoo, is the space prepared for this? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think you're gonna have a lot of work to do, Nikita and Juan.
yeah. There's tons and tons of work to do, that's for sure.
But Nikita, I wanted to like throw a question into the open here, right? For Juan also. Like, can we even trust an image in 2026 on the internet? It's hard, right?
Yeah.
Trust an image.
Like you have to be absolutely sure you can verify what you're seeing, and I think like in most cases, like even for the norm users, for example, let's say you're just someone scrolling on Instagram or whatever, there's no way they're gonna do like research if the image has like some watermarks or whatever on them. It's gonna be so interesting how the image or the internet shifts like from believing the stories we are fed basically. And I think that it's interesting that because we're still in crypto, and I think this might be one of the best use cases for blockchain tech. That we have the blockchain be like some kind of proof of authentication when it comes to uploaded content or whatever. Every one of us might have an address, and then you can say like, "Hey, this wasn't uploaded by my address. It wasn't verified or signed by my address, and therefore I'm not the creator of this." And I think this might be like the ultimate game changer maybe for blockchains, because I think we're gonna need like a proof of humanity layer or whatever as an underlying tech, because we are screwed otherwise.
Yeah, yeah. I think projects like, there's always like WorldCoin and others that I think are there's a lot of need. There's a lot of need for them. To verify that this is a human posting this, and then this is a real image. Because one, you can verify humanity, but just because you verified humanity doesn't mean what you post is still real. You as a human can go, and make a fake image. We're gonna need some connection of like verifying the humanity plus verifying the hardware device that you took the image on, having some sort of like signing key on there. I hope one of the first places this starts to get adopted is maybe with like journalists, or even like kind of like citizen journalists, people just like posting like content just to prove that they were where they are, to prove that they took a real video, and it can like add even more credibility to what they're posting and the investigations that they're doing. Yeah, because honestly, right now it's very hard to trust like anything you see online. Um, and I think honestly, like part of this will be that, yeah, we need that hard. I think we need the hardware level verification for, anything to really be credible.
Yeah, from my side, maybe I would say that you made like a pretty philosophical question, because that's actually something that has been being taught like for years. Like I'm just thinking about like Plato, for example, that when it was like the old times, like they had like the real image, the real love, the real, I would say truth and truth, and then you have like the different images, the different that like degraded at some extent. So that conversation, I think, can be and that. Relate all those different grades in the past can be related to now on the digital side of things, mostly because if you talk about ownership in like, hey, I created this one with my own hands, what is like your own hands? Because in the past we had like Photoshop that were like people editing their own pictures because they didn't like how they look, or they want to change like a small different pieces, and it's a real image, it's not that real image. What is like a real image at the end of the time? Because we also like take images with specific devices. Those devices can also have like some kind of bias. The I don't know, the amount of brightness that you took into that picture, the amount of the distance that where you take that picture, all the different things. So the medley, I think, get into that question. So if you ask me, is this real image, I would say we never had like a real image. All the different images were created at some extent by our own biased way. And with AI right now, this is I would say more stressed than ever, because there is no easy way, unless that you have like with the blockchain, with NFTs and also on. That's like a good way to verify if you created that, if that's like real or not. I think we can talk about reality and trustfulness in a digital way on like the creation, but apart from that, the creation process itself maybe have some unauthentic ways to make something authenticate. Don't know if it makes sense, but yeah, just those are my questions to your really philosophical question in this session.
I think I'm gonna have a sleepless night tonight. I have one question left, and this is basically it resolves around like identity, and like the whole conversation we just had like makes me think about like, should people think differently about identity and trust when we like see the tech and the space move on?
Yeah, I mean, I
Like
was
the current state we have is like you can see me on a call, like you can hear my voice, you know my phone number, whatever, you know that's me. But like everything is gonna get like tackled in the future, I think. Like it's gonna be very hard, or you have to have some kind of formula and verification system with your peers to be able to tell, hey, is this really Juan? Is this really Nikita? Is this really whoever
yeah.
that I'm communicating with? Because like especially when it comes to Web3 or crypto in general, it's just like based off social networks, and this can be faked so easily. You could even be chatting to a bot nowadays and you wouldn't like
Yeah.
recognize it.
One area I think this might hit quite hard as well, especially because it's a big like economic incentive, is also things like product reviews and just like people talking about, like let's say you wanted to launch like a new supplement company, like and your supplement is actually not that great, but you wanted everybody to buy it anyway, for like health purposes, right? People now go to like Instagram or to TikTok or like other places, and they will see like, okay, like, there's a bunch of fit people drinking this and promoting it, and it looks, it looks good. And even right now, there's already like fraud that happens there, with like people promoting something and they never actually took it. But now you don't even need to get like a person with like dubious morals and get them to promote your product. You can just spin up a bunch of fake videos of fit looking people with your product in your hand drinking it, and even spin up the accounts for them on TikTok and Instagram, get them some followers, and then have them promote your product, right? So but people are used to just like do a quick search. This is how a lot of people buy things, right? They do a quick search, they verify, oh, there's a real real person here that approves of this, and so I'm gonna go buy it. Same thing comes to deciding like what like coding libraries to even use. Like my first thing I usually go search on Reddit quickly, see people's opinions, and that I kind of do when I need to make a new tech choice quickly, right? So anywhere where you need to see people's opinions on things, you kind of inherently assume you're looking at people and not at bots. And I think that is something that's going to start changing. Is I think just platforms really need to start to verify, where there are people here and where they're which answers are written by AI. Again, that may be extremely difficult. Maybe in some platforms will choose like it actually doesn't matter, if the AIs are providing good answers, right? So maybe it also doesn't really matter if it's written by a human or an AI. There's kind of that pathway as well.
Juan, I want to hear from you. I see your head is like
You may,
blowing up.
but yeah, you're asking about like truth and identity at the end of the day. For me, identity is being built like on different, I would say, layers. Like you have like the recognition layer that is like your, I would say, immediate relationships. Then you have like the social layer that goes like from truth that you build with your peers, and then you have like the legal layer that is like the what how you conformate yourself, how you can say that one person is a person based on the law, like what it's like your different rights in society. So I would say for me those are like the three pillars when I think about like identity. And when it comes like to AI and how we can apply this, I would say we can call ourselves like real when we have these different three layers being embedded, and we can't do that when we don't. That's like I would say like a simple answer without like going into further detail, because I think that you need like a core relationship apart like from where you're right now. And yeah, I think there are ways to try to verify at a certain level if I'm talking with the real women right now, because I can put yourself all these different qualities and properties under your person. But apart from that, if I want to verify yourself, of course I will try to do it like LinkedIn, your phone number, emails, as much as I can if I'm unsure of your identity. And yeah, this happens to us a lot. Like they're asking like, hey, is this real Juan? Is this real Nikita? How can I make sure that we are contacting the correct guys and not like some bots out there?
we need at the end of one of these episodes, one of us just like transforms into something completely different on the team you've been talking to this whole time. Like I'm not even here. I'm out like vibe coding, and like somebody else at Chain Patrol is here pretending to be me.
Oh my god.
You have Nikita's version too.
Don't give them ideas, Nikita. Don't give them ideas. But I like circling back to the blockchain. I think it's pretty interesting that we might actually have the tech to use this as like a verification layer down the road, because it kind of was like invented as like a peer-to-peer like cash system with Bitcoin and stuff like that, and then it went into like stable coins, whole institutional layer, and then we might have like the blockchain tech just here to verify that we're actually talking to Juan and Nikita, which is a great thing because we have been doing this like for a while now.
We can sign transactions verifying ourselves if you want. For next time, like, hey, like check in, like I send you, I don't know, Sammy, whatever.
Great. I think we can wrap this up today, guys. Was a very interesting conversation. I think I'm gonna like listen to the recording again to catch up with all the ideas during this call. And yeah, if you got something out of this, it would be awesome. You might actually start vibe coding something around what we talked about today. And yeah, take care, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for taking the time. Auf Wiedersehen. Bis zum nächsten Mal.
До свидания. С Новым годом.
Hasta luego. Gracias.